And good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. It's actually nonprofit night tonight on the Pete Mezzetti Show. My guest this evening is Cynthia Clegg from the Community Foundation, Middlesex County. Cynthia, welcome. How are you?
It's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for.
What's new?
Well,
it's been a while.
It has been a while, but I understand that you've had two of my colleagues on, our staff, Mary Jo Mataba, new person, and Thayer Talbot, whom you know.
That's right. Yeah, they were on with me not long ago.
We're just so busy that, we try to clone ourselves, and sometimes it's not successful.
There you go.
But I want to start out, because you said this is a nonprofit show. I want to start out by giving a shout out to all of the nonprofits in not just Middlesex County, but throughout the state and throughout the U.S., because I don't think people realize how much work that they do for the community and how they really are they weave the fabric of the community. So they work so hard. And as you know, state and federal funding is getting less and less and less. And so we at the foundation try to work with donors so that we can be able to give out more. But my hat's off to the nonprofits, because I admire the hard work and the good work that they do.
Absolutely. And what people don't know is do you guys just deal with nonprofits in Middlesex County, or do you deal with nonprofits all over the state?
It depends on the type of fund. So if a donor has a donor advised fund or a designated fund, they can give outside of the county. As long as if it's a new nonprofit to us, we have to do our due diligence and make sure that we vet them and make sure that they're on the up and up. So, of course, anywhere.
Nice.
We don't give internationally, though.
No,
and
of course not.
We don't give to individuals. So.
No, of course not, no.
But we give to great programs.
So what else we want to talk about today?
Well, you, I think, have been so instrumental in helping us spread the word about our Bully Free Communities campaign that is now, we started 9 years ago, if you can believe that. And we just had our 6th rally with 400 students coming together to do leadership skills, to do team building. Donnie Marshall, the NBA and UConn basketball player, is our ambassador, chief ambassador, and Renee Danino from iHeartRadio is also our spokesperson. Absolutely. So all these kids came with so much energy, but they left with an important message about in implementing skills to be an upstander if they see somebody being bullied, and not to be a bystander. So it was just so energizing. And we actually have done so many things throughout the schools. And I should say, we had schools from beyond the Middlesex County borders, and we pay for the bus transportation. So we're always thrilled to see these kids come in. So we've helped a Stick to Kindness program not get started, but do even more with Durham Middlefield Youth and Family Services. I think you know about our Buddy Bench program, where the Buddy Bench is, if you're sitting alone on a Buddy Bench in a playground, I'm taught that I should go and sit with you. So it's the bonding and building the relationships. And those buddy benches are built by Rushford students who are at-risk young men, and they actually deliver them to where they're going to be.
Oh, cool.
So we've we've worked with other youth and family service bureaus to do lots of different things. And we've also implemented bus driver training, so that those folks who are in charge of our kids going to and from school can have the skills to say, hey, that's bullying, let's how to diffuse it. So we've done over 450 bus driver training, bus drivers, not bus driver training sessions. So it's been very exciting.
It has been. It has been.
It really has.
You guys are a very busy organization.
We are, and I'm not sure exactly when this is going to be aired, but this is what we call affectionately our grant season, because it's the competitive grant cycle, if you will. And we have 9 committees of community volunteers who sit and read all of those applications and really make the tough decision about how much money, the pot of money that we have, where should it be distributed? And it's based on community need, of course.
Right.
So Thayer is in charge of the grants, but she and I are pretty nosy, so we try to know what's going on in the community, and we know where the need is. And then it's also based on whether or not the nonprofit is really ready to accept a grant. Sometimes they need to get their act together.
Yeah.
And so if they're not ready to get a grant, we will work with them over a year-long process and work with them on where, do they need help with fundraising, governance, whatever they need help with, and so that the next cycle they might be eligible to receive the money.
Oh, cool.
So we try to be a resource, not just in money.
Well, that's a good thing. That's
It really is a good thing.
And who are some of the nonprofit organizations in this area that you deal with?
Oh my goodness, who isn't, I think, would be the better way.
All right, who isn't?
So anyone who's, school systems, government institutions, even the hospital with the smaller divisions that, insurance doesn't pay for, so they will apply for a grant. So it's large institutions, smaller divisions, obviously. Right. But if you think about what makes up the community, our funds are there for everything imaginable.
Absolutely.
So animals, the animal and human interaction, human services, of course, the soup kitchens and the folks with intellectual disabilities or, neurodiverse individuals.
Yeah.
Culture and heritage, the historical societies, certainly the arts, because that to me feeds our soul. And so we feed the hungry, and we also feed our souls. Nice. We also do economic development grants. So if a small institution needs something that will be for economic development, that's it. Education, of course. So you name it, we do it. I think, as I said, what don't we do is really the better question.
Exactly. Now, I know we're in the middle of grant season. And once you fill out your paperwork, do all your paperwork, submit all your paperwork, how long till you find out if you got the grant or not, and how do you find out?
Well, Thayer and I and the rest of the staff I will go to the last part first. We have the wonderful opportunity between when we finally have gone through the process, we make personal phone calls.
Yes.
So that we will there's nothing worse than, the date it's going to be decided, and there's nothing worse than having to wait. So we pick up the phone and we call and just say, you've gotten the grant. The other thing that we do is we will call the folks who might not have gotten a grant, and we will invite them to come in and sit down and walk through why they didn't get the grant, so that it's a learning process. And sometimes it's a matter of we just plumb ran out of money. We didn't have enough money this year, although we try really hard to get enough money. Sometimes it was that there was something just not right with the application, so we will sit and work with them, as I said. So that's the end, and those are good calls, and I will say those who don't get grants really appreciate being called personally.
Okay.
The process starts in June, if you will.
Okay.
Thayer does information sessions, and she did 5 this time, where people can come and say, and we go through, this is how our application works. This year, we required everyone applying to come because we implemented an online system to make it easier for the nonprofits, so they loved it. But it was new, so everyone was required to come.
Right.
So that's in June, excuse me. The process goes online on our website in July, due mid-September, and then in October, those 9 committees start meeting. They get the applications, they start meeting, they talk about it. So it's October, and then in November, and then they make their recommendations to the board of directors. And our December board meeting is when it's decided. And the day after the board meeting, we start making those phone calls.
And then you just mail out checks. Or
No, there's a letter, there's more.
Okay.
Sometimes, it's the budget process of the nonprofit, so we want to make sure we're matching when they need the money. So we'll ask them to fill out, when do you need the money? Is it immediately in January? Is it later in the year because of what's going on? So again, we try to stay in sync with the nonprofit. Our whole goal is not to be onerous in applying for a grant.
What?
Just to make everything easier. I know how busy the nonprofits are, so and some don't. Some are all volunteer driven.
Yeah.
Well, you sit on a nonprofit board, so you know
I do.
all the stuff that goes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's our process, and it sounds a little bit more onerous than it really is.
That's okay. That's okay. Now, if you let's say you get a grant this year, and is there a waiting period for when you can reapply?
Aren't you good? You're my straight man. So the other part of the whole process is that if you get a grant 3 consecutive years in a row, we ask that you take a year off.
Okay.
For 2 reasons. One, to give other nonprofits an opportunity to get a grant.
Right.
The other is, during that year, we hope that you'll be figuring out other funders that may be able to help you, other donors. So, and on that off year, if you have questions about fundraising, you can come in and talk to us, and we're happy to help. So, so that's how it is. Sometimes people get a grant 2 years in a row, and then they don't need one because the funding is there for the program. So they skip a year. So then they come back the following year, and then it's the 3-year cycle starts again.
Would you mind a second round for another segment?
Of course, thank you.
Back.
Valley Shore Community Television is constantly adapting to the demands of our viewers. Busy schedules are making it hard for viewers to watch shows when they air.
Television has changed dramatically. We don't have to be appointment viewers or listeners anymore.
No.
We can do this in real time.
VSC TV has made it easy to watch all our locally produced content online and when you want it. Visit vsctv.com and click on the Watch Online tab to watch live, or visit our local show playlist to easily navigate your favorite shows anywhere, anytime, and on any device. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Mid-Shore Valley digital connection.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. Sitting here with Cynthia Clegg from the Community Foundation, Middlesex County. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you for putting a focus on the nonprofits. I
Oh,
really appreciate that.
Not a problem. We appreciate everything that you guys do, and it's always nice to
And
see
a
you.
shout
We're
out to
there.
people like you who volunteered to be on the boards of the nonprofits because they need your expertise. So
Thank
a
you.
shout out to you and everybody else that's on a nonprofit board.
It's actually a lot of fun being on the nonprofit board that I'm on. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work too. But it's like, okay, every once in a
Yeah,
while.
and you end up feeling really good about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
With those hours that you put into it.
Oh,
So thanks.
Definitely. So what do we want to open up this segment talking about?
Well, I thought that what we could do is maybe people don't know about community foundations and how diverse they are,
Sure,
if you
let's
will.
explain.
At the end of this, I'm going to give you our new report
Oh.
to the community, and this goes out to the entire community.
Okay.
And it talks about the past 18 months
Okay.
and just what we've done, but it also gives everybody an opportunity to see the different kinds of funds that we have.
Okay.
So everybody hears about the donor advised fund,
Yes.
and I love donor advised funds because it's a great way to get your family engaged in philanthropy and making those decisions. So I encourage families, it's year end, if you're thinking about that, come and talk to us about that, because nothing is better than sitting around a table and introducing your children, no matter how old they are, to giving back to the community that you love. So that's one kind. And then we have designated funds where a donor will come in and say, you know what, I really love the library in wherever, and I really want to give money and set it up here so that they can, and it's designated just for that library, so they can have an income stream every year from the Community Foundation. And then there are a broad range of field of interest. The arts, we talked about that, the economic development. So donors can set up, I love the arts, so I might want to set up a fund specifically for the arts. And so there are multiple kinds of things. But if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about some things that we've done over the past couple of years that have helped groups that were in a little bit of a bind.
Okay.
So we are nosy, and we consider ourselves problem solvers at the Community Foundation.
Okay.
So the stories are a little bittersweet. So Iverton Congregational Church and its congregation decided that they were going to close their doors because the congregation was dwindling.
Okay.
They had an endowment, and they wanted to make sure that their mission continued, that the things that they were in place for continued. So we worked with them for 6 months to talk about the types of funds that they could set up. And when they closed their doors and when they had their celebration picnic for their hard work, I was there to talk about the 6 funds that they set up. Some are going for education. Some are going for scholarships, specifically scholarships. Mm-hmm. The first one is very broad. Some are going for the good of the entire community in Ivoryton and the surrounding areas. And then there are a couple of others that are a little, and 2 are going for the Ivoryton Library. Okay. So the folks felt really good about the fact that they made a tough decision, but some real good stuff is going to come from it, so their mission continues. A year before that, St. Luke's Home, which is up in Middletown, came to us and said, funding has dwindled. We just can't keep our doors open anymore, but we want to make sure that our mission continues. And their mission is to help the elderly and the veterans. So that's the same scenario. We worked with them for more than 6 months, and we're still working with them, but they have a fund set up so that they give grants that will benefit the elderly and veterans. Okay. So, that makes us feel really good that the donors' wishes and the community's wishes will carry on forever, if you think about it.
There you go.
And I plan on being there forever.
Absolutely, absolutely. What else as far as grants or the Community Foundation do you want to educate everybody about?
We can be an emergency source for nonprofits. Okay. So I have a very special donor who set up the President's Discretionary Fund. It is not huge, so if anybody's watching and thinks I have this huge fund, it is not huge. But it's there. The donor thought, you know what, there are going to be these emergencies, and I want to set up a fund so that if a nonprofit is in trouble, you don't have to go through the grants process. Right. So we have done things such as helping a nonprofit whose laptop was stolen. Okay. So they picked up the phone and called, and so we were able to contribute, not the entire amount, but some, so that they could get their laptop and keep on doing their business, right. Their good business. We've also been in situations where the food backpack program for the summer was in danger, so we were able to supplement the funds there so that we knew the kids on the shoreline would be getting enough food and that they would not go hungry. So it's those little emergencies. One of the biggest things, I don't know if your audience knows about a place called Hope, which is in Killingworth, which rescues
birds,
rescues raptors.
Yes.
You should have them on sometime.
I actually was scheduled to have someone on, but due to a scheduling conflict there, the person I was scheduled to have on had to reschedule.
Well, they are fantastic.
Okay.
So they actually applied for a grant. We read the grant, and I didn't know this, but bald eagles are a very good currency. They are stolen, and
really?
Yes, and for their feathers and for other things. So they called us and said, here's the emergency. We just found out about the stealing in Long Island. We're very concerned about our place. We don't have enough money for the security. We only have so much in security cameras that we need. and we were able to fund them, and they partnered with the vendor so that they could immediately get their system in place.
Oh,
and
cool.
everybody's feeling a little bit better and breathing a little bit easier about that.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's good.
There you go. And from what I understand, you guys also deal with one of our friends, and that would be Kevin Wilhelm from the United Way.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. And also Sue Murphy. We were talking about Sue Murphy.
Sue with the
Liberty Bank
Foundation.
So the three funders are cohorts and compatriots, and what we try to keep each other in the loop. We actually started, the three of us, based on a request from two nonprofits, a CEO network.
Okay.
So once a month, the CEOs come together and they talk about really the tough stuff that they're going through, and try to come up with, and have honest and frank conversations that you wouldn't really be able to have with your staff.
Right.
And it's a safe place, and you wouldn't be able to have it with your board either.
Right.
It's facilitated by a consultant who lives locally, Tom Gizzo, and Tom's on our board. And there's a confidentiality agreement with everybody, so what is said in that room
stays in the room.
Stays in the room. But that's a sample of what Sue and Kevin and I will sit down and go, yeah, this is really a good thing for the nonprofits.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's been going on for about 20 months, and it's really very successful.
Oh, cool.
It really is.
Cool. Now, looking into the crystal ball, what are you guys looking at for the year 2020 with the foundation?
For the year 2020, certainly building community has become very important for us, to get disparate groups around a table to talk and really engage and understand and get a point of view that you might not normally have, because we're so busy, we go to work, we're busy, and we go home. So we're trying to bring different networks together so we can, I think everybody loves where we are, so let's share it and share different perspectives. So that's one thing. Certainly with the 100th anniversary of the suffragette movement, we will be focusing on our women and girls. We have a series that we're planning for that. And then certainly with the election, we'll be talking about that as well. And then certainly working with the donors to make sure that that we are fulfilling their wishes, their intent with the funds, and just making sure that we're doing what we should be doing.
Exactly.
And trying to get even better.
Exactly. Any fundraisers on the docket for next year?
Next year, yes, we will be doing our Lady Catherine event again. We will be doing some things for our Fund for Women and Girls. That's about all I know of right now. I haven't been in the loop.
That's okay. Last time I had the foundation on, I had Thayer and Mary Jo on with me, and we talked about the Cruise Blues and Brews event. How did that?
Oh, it was phenomenal. Oh, and the other one I should talk to you about is at the same day we did the Middletown Pipes and Drums.
Yes, Thayer and I talked about that. Thayer, Mary Jo, and I talked about that.
We raised money for them. We the team that was on there, raised money for them to get some new rope drums, which will be great. And if anyone has not heard them, make sure you try to reach out or go wherever they are, because they're phenomenal.
Are they?
They are, from Wesleyan. They're lawyers. They're, it's almost like Dr. Indian Chief. They're a lot from the Middletown Police Department, but they love what they do. And they do phenomenal things. They will play at hospice centers, just really rallying the community again through a different kind of music.
Cool.
It was really very cool.
Was it?
Yes, and we're going to do another one. So I'll keep you in the loop on that one.
Absolutely, yeah. For anything, obviously, anything you guys need, that you guys have coming up, let me know, and I'm sure we can
I think if you got the pipes and drums on here, your audience would really love that.
I think that would be be fun, but we just might have to move me out to the side and have them.
Yeah. So they're really good. So that's it. I would just encourage people, it's year end, to if this is the time of year that you give, please go to your professional advisor and talk about things. Donating appreciated stock to your favorite nonprofit or to set up a fund at the Community Foundation is a real easy way to do it. And for those people who are 70 and a half, their charitable IRA money. You can set up funds with some distributions from your charitable IRA if you don't need them. So lots of different things, but we have wonderful professional advisors. I encourage everybody to talk to them.
Now, if people want more information on the Community Foundation, where are we going?
I thought you'd never ask.
I was thinking.
So 860-347-0025 is our phone number, and one of our wonderful ladies would answer the phone, and that's 860-347-0025, or certainly our website, Middlesex County, C as in community, F as in foundation.org.
And people can find all sorts of information on where you guys are.
Absolutely, and a lot more than I didn't have a chance to
That's
cover.
okay. That's good. But from what I understand, last time I had Darren, Mary Jo on with me, they were telling me about the most beautiful building in Middletown that you guys are in.
You have got to come and see that.
That's what Mary Jo and Dare said. They were like, you have to come up. I'm
We
like,
have a new furnace.
Okay.
We have new windows. As we speak, the house is being painted. It is 1771 with chestnut, I think they're chestnut floorboards. Excuse me if I get that wrong.
That's okay.
It's just amazing.
All right.
What a gift.
I'll have to come up.
Yes, please do.
I'll have to come up and say hello.
Please
come
do.
up and say hello. So we've got a website one more time for people that want information.
Middlesex County, CF.org.
Phone number one more time.
860-347-0025.
Cynthia Clegg from the Community Foundation.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
coming
much.
down. We'll
It's
see you
always
soon.
Good to see you.
You as well. On behalf of Cynthia Clegg, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night. We'll see you next time.